All right, we are breaking into that to send you back to London. We are about to learn from the Conservative Party who has been elected the leader of that party and therefore will be the next Prime Minister of the UK. Let's listen in.
Could vote for our new leader. I want to echo Charles's thanks to Brandon and in particular to the party board and the party staff for all their sterling work on the hustings, and also the ERS, who have conducted a very professional operation collecting and counting the votes from home and abroad. And also the 1922 executive, especially my co-chairman, Charles Walker, with whom it has been a pleasure to work, and at least we have brought equality to the top of the 1922 committee. Gender balance is important. And the officers of the 1922 committee, Sir Geoffrey Clifton Brown, Bob Blackman and Nigel Evans, all together here today, and our own parliamentary staff who have given up their spare time to help conduct what I believe has been a very successful election. Finally, I would like to thank all those party members who voted and those who stood in the election, and particularly my colleagues Jeremy Hunt and Boris Johnson, who, despite the challenges of a contest, run in the glare of press comment and public scrutiny, I believe have emerged as worthy candidates for the position of leader of our party. Now, I think you've all been waiting long enough, but in the honoured tradition, I'm going to ask my beautiful assistant to hand me the envelope for the announcement. It's called teamwork. I, Dame Cheryl Gillan, the Joint Returning Officer for the Conservative and Unionist Party leadership election, declare that the total number of eligible electors was 159,320. The turnout in the election was 87.4%. The total number of ballot papers rejected was 509. And the total number of votes given to each candidate was as follows. Jeremy Hunt, 46,656. Boris Johnson, 92,153. And therefore I give notice that Boris Johnson is elected as the leader of the Conservative and Unionist Party.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, everybody. Good morning. Okay, right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Charles. Thank you very much, Brandon, for a fantastic, well-organised campaign. I think it did a lot of credit, as Brandon has just said, to our party, to our values, and to our ideals. But I want to begin by thanking my opponent, Jeremy, by common consent, an absolutely formidable campaigner and a great leader and a great politician. Jeremy, in the course of 20 hustings, 20 hustings or husting-style events, it was more than 3,000 miles, by the way, it was about 7,000 miles that we did crisscrossing the country. You've been friendly, you've been good-natured, you've been a font of excellent ideas, all of which I propose to steal forthwith. And above all, I want to thank our outgoing leader, Theresa May, for her extraordinary service to this party and to this country. It was a privilege. It was a privilege to serve in her cabinet and to see the passion and determination that she brought to the many causes that are her legacy, from equal pay for men and women to tackling the problems of mental health and racial discrimination in the criminal justice system. Thank you, Theresa. Thank you. And I want to thank all of you here today, and obviously everybody in the Conservative Party, for your hard work, for your campaigning, for your public spirit, and obviously for the extraordinary honour and privilege that you have just conferred on me. And I know that there will be people around the place who will question the wisdom of your decision. And there may even be some people here who still wonder quite what they have done. And I would just point out to you that, of course, no one party, no one person has a monopoly of wisdom. But if you look at the history of the last 200 years of this party's existence, you will see that it is we Conservatives who have had the best insights, I think, into human nature, and in the best insights into how to manage the jostling sets of instincts in the human heart. And time and again, it is to us that the people of this country have turned to get that balance right between the instincts to own your own house, your own home, to earn and spend your own money, to look after your own family, good instincts, proper instincts, noble instincts, and the equally noble instinct to share and to give everyone a fair chance in life, and to look after the poorest and the neediest, and to build a great society. And on the whole, in the last 200 years, it is we Conservatives who have understood best how to encourage those instincts to work together in harmony to promote the good of the whole country. And today, at this pivotal moment in our history, we again have to reconcile two sets of instincts, two noble sets of instincts, between the deep desire for friendship and free trade and mutual support in security and defence between Britain and our European partners, and the simultaneous desire, equally deep and heartfelt, for democratic self-government in this country. And of course, there are some people who say that they're irreconcilable, and it just can't be done. And indeed, I read in my Financial Times this morning, devoted reader that I am. Seriously, it's a great British brand. I read in my Financial Times this morning that no incoming leader has ever faced such a daunting set of circumstances, it said. Well, I look at you this morning and I ask myself, do you look daunted? Do you feel daunted? I don't think you look remotely daunted to me. And I think that we know that we can do it, and that the people of this country are trusting in us to do it, and we know that we will do it. And we know the mantra of the campaign that has just gone by. In case you've forgotten it, you probably have. It's always a couple of, it is deliver Brexit, unite the country, and defeat Jeremy Corbyn. And that is what we're going to do. We're going to defeat Jeremy Corbyn. And I know some wag has already pointed out that deliver, unite and defeat was not the perfect acronym for an election campaign, since unfortunately it spells dud. But they forgot the final E, my friends, E for energize. And I say to all the doubters, dude, we are going to energize the country. We're going to get Brexit done on October the 31st. We're going to take advantage of all the opportunities that it will bring in a new spirit of can-do. And we are once again going to believe in ourselves and what we can achieve. And like some slumbering giant, we are going to rise and ping off the guy ropes of self-doubt and negativity with better education, better infrastructure, more police, fantastic full fibre broadband sprouting in every household. We are going to unite this amazing country, and we are going to take it forward. I thank you all very much for the incredible honour that you have just done me. I will work flat out from now on with my team that I will build, I hope, in the next few days to repay your confidence. But in the meantime, the campaign is over and the work begins. Thank you all very much.
So there you have it. Boris Johnson is the new Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. He is the former Mayor of London, known for perhaps being somewhat eccentric, certainly a little bit of eccentric hair there, but also known for his support of Brexit. And the expectation is that he will move forward and hopefully hammer out a Brexit deal that Parliament will also support. That's what Theresa May could not do. And, you know, the UK is hurtling towards a deadline here, October 31st, towards the possibility of a hard Brexit, exiting the Brexit agreement without any sort of agreement with the UK or with the United Kingdom. So the with the European Union. The European Union has made it very clear that they do not want to renegotiate anything with the UK, but it will be Boris Johnson's challenge now to figure out a way to get out of the agreement and make the United Kingdom happy, as well as the European Union. So there's a lot to talk about here, how the whole system works, what happens moving forward. There's a deadline that is looming. Our own Charlie Daggett is joining me right now. She's actually in London right now. Can you hear me, Charlie?
I can hear you, yes.
So,
it was
Charlie,
slightly unexpected.
Sorry, but I know you're good. I know you're good. So this whole thing is very, very interesting, and I think there's a few different things to sort of explain to people here, right, in the U.S. So. Yeah. Boris Johnson is now the new Prime Minister because he is now the head of the Conservative Party. But
exactly
that was voted on only by about 160,000 people.
Right. So like less than 1% of the population had any say in who is going to be the next leader of this great country. That's the way it works out. Because Theresa May, Prime Minister, former Prime Minister, I guess we're just about in transition right now, former Prime Minister Theresa May, had to leave. She left on her own accord because she failed to deliver a decent Brexit deal that the government was getting behind. So that left a lack of leadership. So there were something like 15 candidates within the Conservative Party that they were all deciding on. It got whittled down to 2, Boris Johnson and the Foreign Secretary, Jeremy Hunt, finally came down. And we literally just found out a few minutes ago that it was to be Boris Johnson, but it was pretty much a landslide. It was 2-1. But yeah, you're looking at a situation where this country of more than 60 million people, more than that, the future has been decided by just over 100,000. These are sort of paid up, if you will, members of the Conservative Party who had a say in this vote, went with Boris Johnson. He's the new Prime Minister for the foreseeable future.
I can hear the helicopter above competing with you, but you're doing a good job. So these members of the Tory party, the Conservative Party, they are more likely to be older, male, white, live in the suburbs. These are people who have been pro-Brexit. So one can assume that what they want from Boris Johnson is for him to go full steam ahead and hammer out a deal for Brexit, or are they even in favor of a hard Brexit?
Well, you know, you literally described Boris Johnson when you talked about the voting members of the Conservative Party. Yes, we have to think back, and of course Americans won't have kept up with this the way we have, is that Boris Johnson for a time was the face of Brexit. He was the Brexiteer. You know, he was driving around that bus saying the NHS is going to save millions of dollars by dumping out of Brexit. Dumping out of the European Union. But having said that, the next day, you could see it on his face, he was as surprised as many people here in the country that it actually happened that way. So a lot of people are thinking, well, maybe he just was joining that wave of popularity so he could be pro-Brexit. It wouldn't go through, it would be defeated, and he could say, well, I won on both sides of that. However, the expectations are, in fact, not the expectations, the demands are, that Britain will leave the European Union. It's been 3 years now since people voted for that to happen, and we're now looking at the next deadline of October 31st, a frightening enough date, Halloween, where he's got to deliver, and he is willing, as you said, or perhaps threatening, to negotiate a no-deal Brexit, so essentially willing to crash out. Now, in his favor, he is a charming diplomat. We know him here in this country. He has ties in and out of EU, certainly has ties in the United States. He has stressed the importance of that relationship. So there are his backers who are saying, you know, yes, he has his quirks. Yes, he's unpredictable. Yes, there's bombast in the way he goes about things. But he might just be the right man for the right time to negotiate this through Europe. I mean, he's charming and he's forceful and he's extremely confident. It was a couple of the qualities that perhaps Theresa May was lacking.
So the thing about Theresa May, though, is she, had to wrestle with Parliament. She did not have the support. There are ministers who have already said they will not serve under Boris Johnson. So is he going to have an easier go with Parliament or not?
Not immediately. He's not going to have an easier role because these aren't just regular ministers, these are senior ministers who have said, not vowed, threatened, they are going to do it. The moment he takes office, they're going to resign. So many of his top cabinet members are going to resign the moment he takes office. He's got to replace them. Obviously, he's just defeated Jeremy Hunt. Questionable as to whether he remains the foreign minister. He's in the middle of what's going on in the Gulf right now. He'll probably stay in place. But yes, the first thing he has to do is try to shore up some unity within his own Conservative Party and within the government. There may be a question, we've just learned recently, of a no confidence vote. Labour has said that they're not going to force that right away. So they're going to give him some time to get adjusted in his new leadership role. But I think, it sounds like months and months away. It sounds like it's so far away, October 31st, but the clock is ticking on that. And now the decisions are going to have to be made, in addition to everything that's going on with Britain across the globe, the relationship with the United States, what's happening in Iran, what's happening in the Gulf, the fact that tankers. There's a lot on his plate, but he will be looking for a way to negotiate this Brexit because that is what he promised.
Right. I anticipate more thrills and spills coming out of Parliament. It's always fun for us to watch the goings on there. Charlie, thank you so much.
Thank you.